So hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is the first of our 2-month series of Apocalypse Keys by Ray Najati from Evil Hat, which is a game of monsters hunting monsters, though it's a little more than that. Um, Sabine, I know you've played Apocalypse Keys before. Has anyone else played Apocalypse Keys before?
No,
Okay.
I've listened to a few Let's Plays, but I
Okay.
haven't played it.
This is a PBTA game, and I know I'm pretty sure all of you have played PBTA before, for fairly certain of that. Cinna, right?
Yep.
Okay. And this also uses a variation on the Brindlewood Bay mystery solving system. We'll come to that, what that means. There's a change up in how that's structured. Uh, but that's the big thing. The big thing mechanically is that you don't have stats, and that's sort of the most important thing to kind of get in mind. You have characters that will be generating via sort of your personal prompts darkness tokens, and you can kind of do that at almost any time. And then when you go to make a roll, you'll be spending those tokens, deciding like how much you want to invest in that to make that roll. Why would you not spend all your tokens? Well, you might not spend all your tokens because in this game you're aiming for a sweet spot on the PPTA roll, and if you hit that sort of midpoint, you do great, but you can also go overboard. So the range is a little bit different, and there is the potential to building up too many darkness tokens. But that's a mechanical thing we'll talk about when we kind of come to that. So I want to go through the basic the cats and things like that with us together here, just so we're on the same page. Uh, we are playing with the Department of Change as our division HQ. That's a supplement from the what's it called, the Doomsday Delights book. So we've got kind of a preset division. This one is very much modeled on the agency from the Control video game, but it's basically about world changes and reality shifts and trying to deal with those. So the game itself, in terms of content warnings, before I get too much further in, it is a game about the end of the world, supernatural forces, monsters as characters that are outsiders and marginalized peoples, but also there within the this particular setting, there's certain issues of memory change and reality shifting and things like that as a content warning. So in this game, our concept, you are with Division, which is, and I have to read this straight from the cats, the Department of Interdimensional Vigilance and International Security Interdisciplinary Operations Network. So this is an agency that is devoted to understanding the occult, taming the supernatural, and protecting the world. Uh, it is a world that tries to pretend that monsters are not real. There are people, agencies, things that know about division, that call you in for things. But the general world, while there might be suspicion and conspiracy theories, maybe don't know the full extent of what's going on with division. Um, you are monsters, but this is a game about emotional connection, complicated relationships, um, big threats, and trying to keep yourself together. Um, you're going to be fighting against the apocalypse. There are things called harbingers. Harbingers are creatures, people, things that have started to work to orchestrate these apocalyptic horrors, started to work to make these changes. There are the figures behind the scenes, and in most of our mysteries, we're kind of looking to try to identify the harbinger. They manipulate people, they manipulate monsters. They are shaping the thing towards their goal of the apocalypse. And you are the people that stand between the harbingers and the apocalypse. You're going to be solving mysteries in the course of this, and gathering clues and in a Brindlewood Bay style thing, at the end trying to figure out and come to a conclusion about what exactly is going on and what you need to do to fix the problem. You have a lot of power as your characters. You have a lot of wild tools at your disposal in terms of your playbook moves. Um, but that also means that you can go off the rails, that you can go overboard, that you can cause problems, and you can go down the path towards becoming a harbinger yourself. And that is the ultimate struggle. You are trying to prevent the apocalypse that's you're seeing right there and trying to prevent yourself from becoming apocalyptic. Uh, this game is very much about our characters having emotional entanglements to the world and to each other and generating some of their stress and some of their darkness tokens and things from those interactions. There is a play cycle, a loop that goes on with that. Um, each of you has a darkness that kind of drives you and makes demands of you. You'll have bonds with other players, but you'll also have this darkness that you have a relationship with and a kind of communication with. And you would be making some choices about that. So in our first session here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing creating our characters, building the bonds with them. We'll establish some details about division itself. And then we'll probably set up sort of the prologue start for this first introductory missions. And then we'll get to that first mission next session. In terms of tone, this game has mystery, horror, investigation, but it also has a lot of consideration of our characters' emotional states, how they're feeling about each other's. There are a lot of mechanisms and mechanics in this game that deal with that ask us how we're feeling about the situation, how we're feeling about each other, how we're reacting to people. One of the things is, that doesn't have to necessarily be romantic entanglements. Anything in terms of bonds like that can be strong feelings of connection, friendship, all of that. It's up to you how you want to frame that. Um, and each of the playbooks has kind of a different themed. For example, our summoned is a character who's been summoned from another world and is kind of out of place here. Our found can't remember their past. The last is the last of a particular kind of creature. Each of those have different tones and topics. Um, so that's kind of the subject matter. In a bit depends on what playbooks folks have chosen. Now, we will be using a layered set of safety tools, and in the keeper there on that safety tools set tab, you'll see that we have marks for lines and veils. Lines means anything that is a hard line, meaning subject matter that you don't want to engage with, don't want to interact with in play. And veils being anything that if it does come up in play, this is something that you would prefer be referred to obliquely, that refer to it being mentioned but not focused in on. Those are living lists, so I encourage you all to check in on those and get those set. If there's anything that you want to add to either of those columns, please feel free to do so. We'll check in again later after to see what people have added. The other thing that we're using is lures. Basically, if you want to note out some kinds of themes or plots or stories, elements that you would like to see, you can put that in there out of under lures. These are things that are catnip for you as a player that you can add to that. Uh, the next thing we are using the X card as our reactive tool. Basically, you can say X card or you can mark X card, doing the gesture. X card is used to mark out content that you find objectionable, that you find problematic, that you find wildly off tone. Um, and the X card can be used at any time, even if something has occurred a couple of times before, and then suddenly, it isn't something that you're comfortable with anymore. You're welcome to X card it later on. X card is good to use if maybe we've started to head towards something we've got marked as a line or a veil, but we haven't like caught it. We're starting to drift towards that direction. I just use X card as like if we've maybe gotten off, if the play has gotten complex and people want to just stop and recalibrate, using the X card to just take a pause there, maybe do a check-in, that kind of thing. When you use the X card, the only question we might ask is like, how far back do we need to cut? How far back do we need to go to change where we're at in the moment to clear something up? You are welcome to explain why you're choosing to use the X card, but you are not required to. You're not obligated to make that explanation. You're welcome to do that, but you're not obligated to defend or fully explain why you've made a particular choice of a safety tool. The next thing that we do is we have an open door policy, which means that if at any point you need to step away to exit the game for the session, you're welcome to do that. It'd be great if you could tell us that you're going to be back, but you're not required to. That goes if you're not feeling well, if somebody has arrived, something has changed in your personal situation, that's all open. So just know that you're not locked in here. Related to that, if it turns out after this session or a later session that this game is not the game for you, you're welcome to simply send me a message and say, thank you, but I think I'm all set. You're not obligated, never obligated to stay in a game that you're not enjoying. I'm too old. I've been caught in too many of those games that I've joined and then I've been like, oh, this is not the game I thought it was going to be. So just keep that in mind. Those are the basic sort of safety tools that we have on the table. And so what we're going to do to start out is everybody has their tabs. What you need to do in terms of making your character, once you've chosen your playbook, you're going to work through. There's kind of a list of picks that you need to make there on the making a character tab there in that second column. Basically, you're going to be choosing some of those prompts. We're going to end up with a name, physical description, origin. You're going to choose your power of darkness. That's kind of the special abilities that you have. Those are abstract. Those are the tools that you bring to the moves to say how you're doing things. And then you're going to choose a playbook move, and then either one division move, which are on a separate tab, or a ruin move from your playbook. So I'm going to now be quiet for a little while and let you all make those choices, and I'll kind of poke around on sheets. If there are questions that you want to ask as you're making that about what things mean, please feel free to do so. There's a lot of text in these playbooks, so there's a lot to grok. Once we get done with that, then we'll go to character introductions. And so I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll resume after a little bit with the recording. So we're going to do character introductions here, and I'm going to have you talk about your characters, kind of give us the picks that you've made, how you're picturing them. I'm going to ask you some questions about them, just so we're all on the same page. The lines that we have set right now, based on the safety tab at this point, and again, these can be added to later, are hard lines on sexual assault, cannibalism, and torture by the PCs. And then we have a general veil on torture being done by anyone. In terms of lures, things that people are interested in having, and again, this is another thing that can be added to fractured realities and body horror. So those are on the table. So let's start kind of in the order that people did their character. Uh, Dominic, we're going to start with you. Tell us, introduce yourself, your pronouns, your character, their pronouns, and then tell us about your character.
Mhm. I'm Dominic Him, and I'm playing the Summoned. And the Summoned is named Samael, the Poison of God. And Samael is a an angel of the Most High sent to Earth, in like back in times immemorial, to basically prepare humanity for colonization. And they have been spending their time fomenting war and strife for like all of humanity's time until they were captured by division and deprogrammed. And now they are a company man because as an angel they take to structured and hierarchical environments. And the summons theme is the interplay or being torn between violence and love. And so the summoned has all the horrible powers of an angel of the Most High, but at the same time they are afraid of falling in love, um, and because that will this is their prophecy. Um, no, that is what the darkness demands of them, to fall in love with the harbinger of the apocalypse. And the prophecy is to lose all their memories and emotions in order to become the weapon they were created to be, which is the other end. Like if they overshoot on their aloofness, then they might be what they were meant to be all along, the the bridgehead for the Most High. And so yeah, so that is the theme, to find the middle ground between being emotionally distant and aloof, and losing themselves by falling in love.
Tell us about what you picked in terms of the powers and the moves, and you have a
Mhm.
set move, so tell us about
Sure, sure,
those.
sure. So the powers of darkness are emotion amplification, which is what it sounds like. They can amplify the emotions of people around them. Um, Again, I was thinking this is this a need for this craving for being worshipped, that comes to play here, and then shadow control, which is the energy of their home realm bleeding through them. And the playbook move that they start with is sometimes I get angry, where they get darkness tokens just for unleashing the dark through anger and violence. And they also have the playbook move Everything for You, My Love, which means when they mark their fifth box of ruin, they can declare their love to somebody, and that might bring them back from the brink at the danger of entangle their loved person into their prophecy. And then they have the division move Subcontractor, which in short means that they can call on division for help, with like specialized personnel, but then the specialized personnel also is in danger.
Okay. I dig that. Like I see the very, very beautiful abstract black and white image you have. Like, tell us how when somebody sees you, what are they seeing? What are they they picturing? What are they you
Mm-hmm.
know coming to terms with when they see you?
So most people don't see the real me, obviously, because the real me I imagine as a like these biblically accurate angels,
Hmm.
filtered through like Lovecraftian um, tentacle stuff. But that is all hidden and tucked away neatly under a big trench coat and a floppy hat, and their face is cast in shadow. They wear glasses, and sometimes when they like struggle to maintain control, maybe a little bit of the unnatural light of their home realm shines through behind the glasses. But as with everything about them, they try their best to stay very composed and very buttoned up.
I noticed that under look you chose the holy item my adoptive parent gave me.
Yes,
What do you think? What is that? And
that
who is that
is
adopted parent?
so. Yeah, that. So I was thinking, the adopted parent is the field agent that caught me
Okay.
and deprogrammed me, and is maybe a fallen angel themselves, um, who might have lost their power and now they're doing desk work. And the item that they gave me is a part of either their or my own halo.
Okay. So you've got a little bit of a fragmented halo,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got a fallen angel who is on desk duty now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give me a name for that?
I actually didn't come up with one, um, but I'll come up with that later.
Okay, absolutely. Um, and how long ago do you think that you said that you've been on Earth for a long time, that you've been doing these things. How long ago do you think you essentially got captured and deprogrammed?
What sounds sensible for you? Like, how long has division been a thing?
The division has apparently existed for in some form or another throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with there's sort of definitely a variation of the modern sort of 20th century. Uh,
Yeah. Like, how about maybe we table that and find that out and play?
okay, sure,
Mhm.
absolutely. Um, and uh, what is the darkness demand of you?
It demands of me. Let me just go back to the character sheet. It demands of me to despair as an immortal and to fall in love with a harbinger of the apocalypse. So the despair as an immortal is kind of obvious, I think. Like, just like they've been alive for so long, and I think now they also have to reconcile what they've done throughout history with their new outlook on life, and that is plenty of fodder for despair. Um, and the fact that they can't escape that by just dying. Um, and to fall in love with the harbinger of the apocalypse, there I was thinking that there is this other angel, Lilith, that is tied to, like, I don't want to go like in this women are evil thing.
Hmm.
So I would phrase that more positively, like that Lilith is um, first of all not necessarily female coded, but more importantly tied to like freedom, to rebellion, to chaos. So everything that Samael is not.
Okay.
And they are afraid, like when they fall in love with Lilith, that might open a door in themselves or in Lilith.
So you have emotional amplification. Uh, uh, do you think that for Samael, that emotional amplification is uh, like they can amplify any emotion, or do you think they have a preferred emotion that they understand, or like
Mm.
how do they interact with that when they're changing someone else's emotions,
Mm.
given how weird they are in terms of relation to emotion? What is that?
Yeah. So I think it started out, and maybe their oldest power started out as a tool for the job. Like the task that I imagine them having had when they came to Earth is not to just lay waste to Earth, but to prepare humanity for being overtaken, and that is by like destroying them on an emotional level. Like they can amplify feelings of anger, of jealousy, um, and all of that. And on the other hand, there's also this angelic need of being worshipped. So they can also um, draw people to themselves if they want to, but they try to not do that anymore.
One last question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a big one. Feel free not to answer it if you want to hang off on it. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, how does Samuel feel about God? God as a thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was also thinking like who or what God or the Most High, as Samuel calls it, is.
Hmm.
And I came up with, because then I was thinking like how do we get shadow control in there? That it is actually not like God doesn't live in the sky. God lives at the center of the universe and is very like akin to Azathoth, to
Okay.
this demonic insane entity at the center of the universe. And I think Samael does not want to ever return or ever become the weapon that they are made to be, and would like to disavow that lineage entirely if they could, but they can't.
Okay. Awesome. I think that gives us a good sense of who your character is. We'll come back after we've had everybody introduce themselves, and we'll uh, uh, do the starting bonds and what the darkness demands of you and get that
Mm-hmm.
set there. So next up is Amanda.
Yep, that's me. I need to change my screen name, but I'll do it in a minute. So Amanda is the found, and Amanda was found by, I think, a group probably of division agents that were doing some things in a trans-dimensional library. And they found Amanda. Amanda used to be a book, but then her creator poured a ton of memories into her, probably to preserve them, probably because they were going somewhere doing some shit. And that, I mean, Amanda was just becoming a person, and then all of this happened. So there she is now. She can take human form. She has taken human form. She has basically almost forgotten what it was like to be a book. She knows she was about things like grief and fear and guilt, but also in the end, some hope. And she tagged along with the division agents because they were people they probably asked her to come along. And so she came. She's here now. She's curious. Doesn't She remembers a lot, but she can't make sense of it. There's so many memories in her, and she doesn't know what to do with all of them. Most of them are not her own. She's pretty sure about that. You're muted if you wanted to say something.
Uh, Tell us about what what we see. What is the appearance, the look of Amanda for other characters?
She looks mostly human, like a dark-skinned woman, maybe. She has writing moving across her skin. She can't read it. It's also probably other people can't read it either because these are weird sigils and letters. Sometimes it might be English or something else that you can read, but it changes. And she smells of dust and old ink. And when she speaks, there's like this slight echo of rustling pages in her voice.
And tell us about the powers and the moves that you chose.
Okay. So, my powers of darkness are telekinesis and power absorption. She doesn't know how she came by that, but the power absorption seems to have to do something with the way she was created, absorbing all of this information. That's how she can do it. The telekinesis, she's not sure, but gravity seems to be more of a suggestion to her than
Mhm.
a real thing. She has the playbook move, you can't hide your heart from me. She's very sensitive to thoughts and feelings. and can sense all kinds of things about that. And she also has a man of 1,000 faces. She can reflect the thoughts of memories of others to help them see what they wish to see. She can basically shape change. I mean, she took the body of a human form, so that's basically an extension of that. And she can shape change, I think, to other people, or yeah, to other people, which
Okay.
is fine.
And you took
And
the Forbidden Archives, right?
yes, I took the Forbidden Archives. I was found in the library. I have an affinity for archives and
Okay.
libraries, I think.
Um, what does Amanda's voice sound like when she talks, or does she talk? Like, I
Oh,
guess
she
that's a
talks,
question.
yes.
Okay.
She talks. She talks. It sounds like um, sometimes she's speaking slowly because she's looking for the correct word, right? Like
Hmm.
she has so many words in her head that choosing the correct one is hard. And sometimes she has to not grasp for the most correct one. And she has to learn that. She's still learning not to search for the precise term that she needs and just use something a little simpler. Yeah.
So when she encountered, it is she, her we're using? Yeah.
Yeah, she,
Okay.
her. She uses she,
Uh
her.
when we encountered uh that for her when she came to Division, uh do you think that that was like she f found a path to go on, or did she just kind of drift into it? Like, what was that for her becoming a part of the organization?
Yeah, I think she followed them, and then it was kind of a like, "Oh, okay, you're here now. You seem to have powers. You should work for us." And she was like, okay, I guess.
Is there anything in terms of like memories? A lot of them have been erased or taken away, things like that. Is there anything that is a theme memory or a specific incident that kind of sticks with Amanda, or is it a very blank slate?
Let me think about that for a
Sure.
second. A memory that sticks with her. I think it's her creator telling her, "I'm sorry."
Ooh,
That's rough.
love it.
Oh, full disclosure, this is based loosely on one of my old um, Apocalypse Keys characters who was the last and who shoved all our memories into their companion, a little book, and then left to destroy the world.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
yeah, yes,
I love that. Awesome. I think that gives us a good sense
yep.
of who they are.
Mhm.
Next, let's come to our Wendell, our Hungary.
Um, yeah. Um, so Wendell is he was an academic first, and then later a magician, sort of by accident, uh, who fell into some occult circles, got his hands accidentally on some real magic, and got way too deep in that way too quickly, and cast some unfortunate spell that turned him into what he is now, which sort of poked his soul full of holes, and now he just bleeds everything he knows. Uh, so he has to like keep filling those holes with other people's secrets and magic. Um, yeah, what were the things you wanted to know?
Yeah, so kind of walk through us like the origin and look,
Mm,
and then we'll talk about the the powers of darkness and some of those things.
uh, yeah, Wendell is he has kind of like a Austrian academic kind of look.
Hmm.
Uh, very thin, reedy 40s kind of. Uh, he has the kind of bearing and build that he looks like he could levitate a couple inches off the ground if only he wanted to.
Hmm.
Um, Mm-mm-mm.
How do you imagine he got mixed up with division? Did he get captured? Did he voluntarily join? Did something else happen? What do you imagine for that?
I imagine he reached out because he realized he can't find enough to not explode or implode rather on his
Mhm.
own. So it was kind of like a checking into rehab kind of ordeal.
Is it both magic and secrets, or is it magic, or is it secrets? Like, what do you imagine, like the substance that he's consuming?
I think it's primarily magic, only that secrets are a kind of magic, is how he would put it.
Oh, I think that seems reasonable. Um, Tell us what you picked for your powers of darkness.
Uh, so I picked the better to eat you with, my dear,
Okay.
uh, 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 which lets me essentially really drill down on a clue we've been given and transform it a little bit.
hmm and you start with that gnawing edge of hunger, which is a very potent move that
Yeah,
allows you to do a lot with that. Did you choose a division or a ruin move?
I took a ruin move, your ruin on my lips, uh, which if another PC allows me, I can take on some of their ruin as they show me the horrible harbinger that's inside of them.
Excellent. Um, your powers of darkness include the mystical power that you stole. Like that makes sense. What is your corrupting touch like? Like, is it a spiritual corruption? Is it physical corruption? Is it something else?
Uh, I imagine it like aging. Like I can touch a book and it'll like turn to dust
Okay.
slowly.
Um, does the magic that you feed on, uh, is there any flavor to it, or is it flavorless? Like what is it when you consume that? What is that act of consumption like?
Uh, what's a good visual comparison to the image I have? Um, you know when like a glass bulb shatters
Mm-hmm.
in slow motion, that first like millisecond when you see the cracks form and all that power is just pouring out in every direction. It's like being trapped in that for as long as it goes on.
Nice,
Like,
nice. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Um, that gives us a nice sense of who they are. Uh, how long ago do you imagine that they got connected up with division? Is it a fairly recent thing? Is it a longer term thing?
um, I imagine it being like a quite long while, but they haven't gone very far in that time.
Okay. They're a little slow in their changing. That seems reasonable. Um, Excellent. We'll come back to talking about bonds and kind of what the darkness demands and all of that stuff. Uh, that does bring us, last but not least, to our last, ironically enough. Joe?
Okay, so Akamian is the last name. It's oh, and I'm he him by the way, and Akamian is they them. And I chose they them because I feel like massively advanced peoples would more like be they them than than anything else, but I may slip along the way. So
Okay.
correct me if I do. Um, I don't know how you want me to go through this, but um, their origin. Um,
So I pick for that. So they're basically the last member of a highly advanced civilization um, that destroyed themselves. And when you're ready for me to explain my idea there, I will. From a look perspective, I kind of like the idea of, I'm leaning into the last has a lot of reflectiveness and wisdom and things. And so I think in his human form, he appears slightly differently to whoever is looking at him
Hmm.
as whatever their image of like a wise person might be, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So um, it's kind of shifting in that way, if that makes sense. Um,
absolutely.
I chose eyes that contain a galaxy. So with the idea that if you look deep into and it's maybe more less a galaxy and the void, which will tie into the how they destroyed their civilization.
Okay.
And he has a wound that he will never allow to heal. And so what I imagine that is in his human form where the heart would be, there's like a hole, and it's that void that you can see, like infinity, sort of like the space between in outer space, sort of the darkness.
Hmm. And so you've alluded to a couple of times the nature of that destruction of the civilization. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm still fully I'm having a hard time like putting it in words, but like
Sure.
um I like the idea that their civilization was highly advanced, but not technologically.
Okay.
It was more uh um I hesitate to use this word, but more esoteric and things, but not like high magic type esoteric, right? Like
Right.
if you think about like some Eastern philosophies that mirror science in those ways, so kind of like that. Um, and uh, they they were peaceful, but they delved like too far. That's what the so and opened doors into what they called the spaces between, which would be like maybe what you might call like a wormhole or things like that. But they delved too deep into the void, um, and allowed themselves to be corrupted by that power. And it was and it happened to them before they. It was too late by the time they realized it was happening to them, um, and it ended up destroying them as. And he's the only one left. So
How how is it that they are how that they survived? Like what happened to have that happen?
um, yeah, I had in my head that they warred amongst themselves, and that ultimately, um, I kind of wanted to go into where he was ultimately, or they were ultimately the final unleashing of these powers that destroyed everything. So that at the end of the day, they were kind of the reason. They kind of were the last straw in destroying everyone else.
So not a set of innocence with this thing going down that they were heavily involved in that
Yes.
vanishing. Um, how does that connect to the powers of darkness you chose? Those two things.
So void spells in my mind, that was aligned with this idea that their power is not technology based, but more something like magic. But I don't want in my head it's not D&D fancy and magic, right?
Right.
It's more um something different than that. Like, but like I said, I'm having trouble articulating what's in my head with that. And then the time distortion, I was shifting between time distortion and dimensional phasing because I think that a big part of what they before they fell was they tapped into the void to travel throughout the cosmos, right? Through
Hmm.
this space between, in search of wisdom. And that's the great irony of how they destroyed themselves, is they did all of this to gain wisdom and knowledge, and then in the end it was that very knowledge and wisdom that destroyed them. So I don't know, like time
Yeah,
distortion, I think it fit in with them, like, in my mind they had sort of, as a civilization, time, space, all things were at their disposal.
absolutely. And certainly, as with all things, we'll check in later on if people want to make switches on the picks. They can do that. What did you choose for your moves? What did you
So,
start with, and then what did you pick?
yep. So Ashes to Ashes is the starting move, which is, um, I can, it allows me to declare how the wisdom of my people might help in a situation. So, um, playing into that, like,
Hmm.
wiseness or whatever. And then the move I chose was You Are All That I Have Left. Um, I'm the last, but there's an echo of the past that will never leave your side. And one of the prompts was a small machine that holds the soul of a loved one. I was thinking more in terms of, it's sort of like a little, like a simulacrum, right? Like where it holds, like, um he can actually interact with it, right?
Okay.
Like, so it's almost like a, I don't want to say, but you imagine like a little AI of some sort, right?
Hmm.
Where it's not them, but it's like embodies them, and he can interact with it in the way that and it can interact with him, but it's not really them.
Okay.
Um,
This replica, do you think is it a small thing? Is it a thing that only you can see? What do you think that replica's shape form is?
um, it's like a pendant they wear,
Okay.
like, and or like a, yeah, like a pendant. Um, Interesting. I hadn't thought if anybody else could see that or not. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to. It's so yeah, I think others could see it if I imagine, like, it comes off like as almost like a hologram,
Mhm.
like type thing. So
Yeah. We'll definitely come to that and explore what that looks like to the others. And you chose a ruin move?
yes, I chose Reaching Beyond Time and Space, which is, you once had friends who stood and fought with you long ago. And so it looks like I can break the sacred laws of time and space and bring one of them into our time. My read of this is to aid us in if we need them.
Okay.
That was my read of the move.
Uh, Excellent. I think that gives us a good sense of who you are. Let's talk about bonds. So on your characters, you will see that you've got two bonds. If you mouse over on those bond questions, you'll see that there is a question there, which you can kind of put out to the others. If you have an answer you want to put forward, you can do that. You can kind of throw it open, and basically you're going to get a bond at rating one and one at rating two. And we could rephrase these if you want to change them a little bit here. And we're also going to get a bond with the darkness. So let's start back with Samuel. Um, what is again the darkness demand of you?
The darkness demands of me to despair as an immortal and to fall in love with the harbinger of the apocalypse.
Okay. Okay. So you have two bond questions. Which one would you like to start with?
Mm, I think I would like to start with the first one.
Okay.
That is, you were there when I was summoned. What makes you afraid of me? And this is when I was summoned. Like technically, it would be when I arrived on Earth, which would be like in time immemorial. If somebody wants to be surprisingly that old, otherwise it could be when I was brought into Division. And by the way, now I googled a bit on angels, and I decided on Zadkiel, who is an angel of mercy, who was wounded during the fight and is now relegated desk duty. So they not being a field agent is directly the result of them bringing me in. But that's just an aside.
Ooh, I like it.
So who would like to have been there when I was brought in slash arrived on Earth?
Anyone interested in that to build that connection here?
Maybe I
or
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was thinking something like maybe one of the first spells that I accidentally set off was something like a temporary time travel thing where I like went back to the beginning of the universe and saw all that shit happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw you arrive.
That is cool. Let me just quickly point out what my second move is, because I think that might be potentially interesting for you too. My second one
Okay.
is why can't you tell me you love me? And I could
Ooh.
imagine that your character might have quite the fascination with Samael.
Yeah,
Do you want
that
to do
sounds
that
good.
second one then? Is that seems that the two bonds? So uh, uh, you would put Cinna in that box, Samuel.
Wendell?
Um, and what is it like? Is it that vision of the strong past that keeps you from admitting your connection to Samuel, or is it something else, do you think?
I think it's honestly that I'm afraid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that sounds perfect. That mix of love and fear. You've seen everything behind the curtain. In one of your mishaps. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there. That seems great. Are you good with that, Dominic?
Yes.
Okay. Amanda, which of your bonds do you want to establish here first?
Um, Let me see. I have two, and the first one is pretty much the same. You were there when I was found. Do you pity or admire me? And the second one was is you love me, but I don't understand love. Why don't you give up on me? I'm just read both of them because I think it's easier to figure out who
Good
Sure.
wants
idea.
what, if that's okay.
Which
So either, sorry.
do you
Go
have
ahead.
one of those that you prefer to start with?
I'd like to know who was there when I was found. I imagine I haven't been with Division for a long time for now, so
Do you have any imagination of how you were found?
yeah, I was in there was a group of Division agents
Mm.
coming to this transdimensional
Mm.
library thing, and I was
Library, you say?
yeah, 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 yeah. Don't eat me! Don't eat me!
Okay, fine.
So were you there?
That sounds likely.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's put
and you
that
were
as that.
Wendell, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. And then Wendell, which of the two do you want to start with?
Um, you remember what I was like before my hunger claimed me. Why do you wish to protect others from me?
Interesting.
And what is the other one?
And the other one is, your heart wishes to consume me. Why do we bring out the worst in each other?
Wow, also beautiful. I kind
What?
of feel
Yeah.
immediately drawn to the second one, but I can't put in words yet why and how.
I think I might go for the first one. I don't personally probably remember, but I have some memory for whatever weird reason. I know this.
Yeah.
Maybe I drew it from you, or it's just in my head. Who knows?
I
Yeah.
like that.
Maybe I just connect to this sense
Let
of
me
longing and like
just finish here.
hunger.
Why do you wish to protect others from me? That's pretty clear, right? I don't want you to eat others like me.
Okay.
Please, no. Thank you.
And then Samael, you were saying for that second one, you kind of wanted to take that one up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh,
Heart wishes to consume me. Yeah.
what do you think that the mix of you two are Angel and our Magic Eater? What is it that you think would be something about that would bring out the worst in each other here?
But I think Wendell brings out in me that this this that one of the themes of Samuel is like this tight control that they keep on themselves, and Samuel is just like pure hunger, and it's like embodies the loss of that control, and that is very alluring and very frightening to Samuel.
Does that work for you, Wendell?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what is the why do I bring out the worst in you?
Why do we bring the worst out in each other?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you kind of push Samael to be more reckless. What is it that Samael pushes Wendell towards?
Is Samael proud of like the power that he has?
Mm, that is a good question. I think um like not proud in the sense of vain, but proud in the sense of an accomplished professional, you know, and
Hmm.
somebody who knows that they are better than everybody else.
Yeah, I think
Is it a competitive thing? Is it falling into the patterns of also being a little bit vain about their power? What do you think that
I
is?
think it's a like I feel inferior, and
Mm-hmm.
so that drives me to do stupid things to like
Mm.
catch up.
Nice. Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh Achaimean.
Oh, so let's see. The first one is you know of another like me. How does keeping this secret from me protect me? And the second one is we loved each other once. Why do we keep hurting each other?
I want the first one. Sorry if anybody else. But that's pretty clear, right? Um,
Dips.
I know of another like you. Yeah, I actually I remember as I said, I have weird memories and I know that there is another like you. I think I think I've maybe I've read about them in the Forbidden Archive. Maybe they were a sort of a maverick who left your culture to explore things other than the void, maybe more of a transdimensional thing that they were curious about. And yeah, I know they're still around. I don't tell you about this because I don't think they'd be good for you, actually,
Okay.
because they're messing around with dimensions and that and I mean you've messed around with the void and found out now to go messing with dimensions and finding out maybe that would not be a good thing, really, actually. I
Awesome.
don't think.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. I like it.
Would it be bad form if I took the second rating 2 bond? Because the loved each other once so ties in with the summoned.
I like that.
Okay.
I actually was kind of thinking that myself. So
That maybe before I came to Earth, I was on your planet and was instrumental in its downfall.
yeah, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Uh,
Spicy.
and like why do you keep hurting each other? Is it resentment? Is it accidental? Like how do you picture that?
Like before we go there, I would quickly just
Sure.
go with this. We loved each other once. Like if I was instrumental in the downfall of your civilization, how does the love come in?
So I would maybe so I had in my mind that Akamen embraced the void too much, and so
Mm.
I think he's very torn, but or they're very torn between those two things, and so I
Mhm.
think um, that's where that love would come from.
So you maybe
And I
you
think we hurt each other because when we when we when he gives into that, then his guilt at some point overwhelms him and he pushes you away.
yes, you were my favorite acolyte, and you remind me of what I'm capable of if I go too deep.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
And then Samuel, the first bond.
Is again the you were there when I was found or summoned. Let me just go back to my own tab.
So that would be
You were there when I was summoned. What makes you afraid of me? Is the question.
and you said that can either be when you were summoned to the first place or when you joined the organization.
Or
Okay.
like theoretically, but then I would have both my bonds with. No, I wouldn't. Theoretically, could also be when I was summoned to Akamians. How's it pronounced? Sorry,
Akamian?
Akamian. When I was summoned to Akamian's world, potentially.
What do you think, Akamian?
I'm fine with that.
So why, sort of in addition to kind of the past thing, what is it that you like makes you afraid of Samuel?
Because of the power that they had over us
Hmm.
and 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 what that ended up um um doing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And I think that just leaves us with Amanda's
Yeah,
second one.
the second one, my second one is, oop, where is it? No, wrong tab. It's you love me, but I don't understand love. Why won't you give up on me?
Anyone interested in that kind of connection? And again, love can be of different kinds of levels of that, uh, you know, romantic, non-romantic.
It would be deliciously ironic
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
if I wanted to also eat you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that that yeah, that's why you wouldn't go and give up on me, right? Because I'm
because
so
there's
too
two strings pulling me to you,
I'm
Yes.
I
so delicious.
but I
Yeah, I
can't
know.
have
I
either.
like that. That there
Yeah,
the secrets and
I
magic that Amanda possesses
yeah.
are
Yeah, but that
alluring.
means I only have bonds with Wendell.
That
Mm.
is awkward.
I
That
mean,
is,
Summer could love anybody. I
yeah,
mean, Angel of the Most
yes,
High, after all.
yes, yes,
Okay.
and that makes sense.
What for Samuel makes that unique in a way that they don't want to or won't give up on Amanda?
I'm wondering about the step before that. Like, why would I give up on Amanda? Like, what is so awful about Amanda?
She doesn't understand what your love means.
Mm.
She can't maybe reciprocate, or maybe she
Mm.
can, who knows? She
Yeah,
doesn't. She
maybe
doesn't
she
understand it.
she can't give me the worship that I crave.
Yeah, yes,
And but I still see this like see her as basically my second chance, or as the embodiment of everything that I could be
Hmm.
yes.
Excellent.
as a protector and yeah,
To an
friend.
angel, there's probably not that much relative difference between a human and a book, after all,
Yeah.
No.
is there?
Exactly.
Uh, I love it. Uh,
Provided both have souls.
yes. So we are going to take our first break here. We're going to take till it's about 21 after, so we'll take till 30 after. Um, when we come back, we're going to do some questions about division and kind of set up for that first mystery. So I'll see everybody back about 9, 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds can be spent a couple of ways. They can be spent after you roll to give yourself a +1 or a -1 to that roll. There's also another situation where if another character, another PC is torn between, that's basically when they get caught between their two natures or get caught between what the darkness demands and what they're like, you can uh, spend a bond to show how you managed to get yourself out of that because of your connection to that person. So it is all of these bonds are spent by yourself to give yourself benefits. In this game, as I mentioned, uh, the currency are these darkness tokens. You'll notice that on your character keeper, it has a place for you to keep track of how many you have at that particular moment and what circumstances create that. And you can make that justification before you roll. You can go, okay, I think, this has happened. Or you can make the justification, during play as you're doing something. That's going to be kind of an ongoing thing of I'm going to generate some darkness tokens. And sometimes I'll point those out to you. Do you think that does this? But a lot of that is kind of in your hands. You'll be getting conditions. That's one of the things, a cost or drawback. And then if you have those a particular condition marked, uh, we will that question of do you embody it is one of the ways to generate that set of darkness tokens. There are basically in most play, there are basically 4 moves. There's Unleash the Dark. This is our enforcing our will, trying to do something on someone physically, socially, emotionally, whatever. There's so that's kind of our combat manipulate move. There's Power Through Darkness, which is you using your supernatural powers to resist something or solve a problem, change a situation. Uh, so you describe how you're using your powers of darkness to do that thing. Uh, there's Reveal Your Heart. That is our sort of interpersonal connection one. That's about helping people clear their conditions, building bonds, clearing ruin, which is kind of the ongoing corruption. Um, and then the last one is our investigate to get clues move, and that is the grasp keys. Those are the basic big 4 that we're going to be coming back to besides your playbook moves. And some of your playbook moves may supersede those for you personally, but just kind of know that's the big 4 in standard play. You are agents of division, and division has various branches. You are agents of the Department of Change. I've mentioned before harbingers, the figures that kind of manipulate things and are trying to bring about the apocalypse, and doors of power, which are the means by which they do that, the objects, places, things that get opened up by these harbingers. The other term that we throw around in the game is omen class monsters. That's you. You are all omen class monsters, which means that all of you have the potential to become a harbinger if things go really wrong. Uh, Division is made up of many levels of humans and non-humans. For example, Zakiel from Samuel's past was an Omen class monster, but is no longer an Omen class monster, and is probably a term for a career desk angel there. But you are with the Department of Change. This particular branch tracks shifts in reality. It tries to maintain records of all the past versions of the current operating universe. So it has an extensive collection of documentation and artifacts and things uh, that things that are left over from reality shift incidents or RSIs. Um, Everything is preserved here in your particular branch. Um, you have a director. The director's name is Mittens. Director Mittens is a cat. If you see him and he is a different breed or color or appearance than the last time you see him, it means that there has been an RSI, and you need to essentially notify the assistant director Hoffman immediately at that point. Um, Assistant Director Hoffman is is well, he's a post-life individual, as we say. So he used to be with Division as a living person, but now he is sort of uh, in his post-life stage of employment. Um, there is also a thing, a projection that was originally created as a tool to assist in the records department that had become sentient and kind of unpleasant, named Snippy. That is a floating uh, uh, thing down in the file department. And then the actual library is overseen, and these pictures of these are all in the NPCs tab. Dmitri of Alexandria, who was one of the last visitors to the Library of Alexandria. She is a librarian for the Department of Change. She organizes all of the printed materials. She does not deal with electronic archives, but only physical archives. So very much picture we've got kind of a building, place, a site that is a combination of weird occult supernatural stuff, but also the office space kind of thing. Samuel, tell me something else about the place or the features of this particular division branch.
Um, something else. Something else than what?
A location, personnel, appearance. Where is it in the real world? Any of those things. Let's build a
Hmm.
little more picture up of our particular division of change.
Mm-hmm. Um, I would say since it is occupied with keeping reality stable and reducing contradictions, it should be attached to institutions that deal with that. So I would imagine you can find it in TV stations or newspapers, and there's always like this little unmarked closet. And if you know where to go, you can just open that closet, and that will lead you to one of the entrances of the division building.
So several different entrances scattered around, connected to these sort of uh,
Foyer.
locuses of information.
Hmm.
Okay, I like that. Amanda, what's another thing about our particular division branch?
So have we defined the building yet?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So I think it's kind of an old-fashioned manor, but made of these red stones. And it is rumored that the ghost of the original owner is still haunting these halls.
Okay.
Or maybe he was a time traveler and is actually haunting these halls. Nobody really knows.
We know that this division place is somewhat insulated, protected a little bit by its own sort of pocket dimension. So this is either a time traveler or a ghost that has somehow gotten caught up within the walls of this semi-protected space
Yeah.
of this manor. Cinna, what's another thing about it, appearance wise, layout wise, location wise, other personnel wise?
Mm, I think there's just one single room in this department. We have a huge building, but most of them are filled with trash every so often that we don't put there. And so we just maintain this one central room, clearing it of trash all the time so that we can actually use it.
Interesting, interesting. So maybe we've got cubicles within that room to kind of break out the space, do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So the nature of reality means that we've got a big central space, but it has broken up by kind of a maze of cubicles and areas there. I mentioned that some of the records rooms and things like that are attached to that have to clear out the trash from there. Okay. Um, and uh, Ak- I'm going to say it right. I wrote it down. Pronunciation guide. Akamian. Uh, what's another thing about our facility?
So because they the nature of what they do, like with reality and time and all of that stuff, I'd say that the staff that works there is populated from essentially like all different like times. So you have a very bizarre mix of people from all throughout history.
So people who have come from alternate versions of count, non not necessarily synced up time wise. They've gotten
Yeah.
dragged here and uh, cut off, or maybe their reality collapsed and they are survivors from that. I like that. Give me an example. We're going to go back around here. Give me an example of a a person who is on staff who is out of their apparent universe or time.
Me again?
Yeah, a secretary, a researcher, another agent.
Yeah. I think maybe like the in keeping with this sort of like cubicles and corporate, there's like an admin of some sort that is actually thinking maybe like in our like somebody, if anybody has an idea, like somebody that was is like definitely very like high and powerful or something in the normal world, but like is uh I can't think off the top of my head um who it would be, if anybody has, but like the idea is like that they were completely not like somebody that would be in that role.
Like an
um,
alternate version of Brad Pitt is your office admin.
Something like that, yeah. um
The president is an intern.
yeah, like if this is I was thinking somebody like gosh, I can't, like, why am I blanking? I have a history major. Why am I blanking?
Uh,
Um, um,
Too much
what
to
if
draw
it,
from.
yeah, what if it's like Margaret Thatcher is like the admin?
okay, like a young
You.
A literal
yeah.
demon.
I asked for input. So
generally avoided by people not quite sure why. We've got that figure in the background. I think that works there. Um, Let me come to Amanda with this question, actually. Um, at some point, after you were recruited, you experienced some real personal turmoil. Um, and Director Mittens is the one that came to you and comforted you. Um, like, how did they, without words, kind of help you work through your issue?
Okay, so I think this was more of an identity issue, like who am I? What am I even doing here? Am I a person? Because maybe Margaret Thatcher was like, are you really in a person? You don't have a personal file. You're not a person, so go away. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of was like, am I a person? Hell, I think I'm a person, but am I? And I was, I think, sitting somewhere, and just like looking around, trying to find a mirror or something to look into and to look at myself. And while I was spiraling there a little, I think maybe Mittens just came up and did what a cat does, right? Just purred at me.
Mm-hmm.
And first I didn't even notice that just suddenly I had the director in my lap and I was petting them and I was like, oh, am I supposed to do that? Okay, I am supposed to do that. And then I realized that maybe it didn't matter so much what Margaret Thatcher thought of me because
Excellent.
yeah.
I like it. Samael, you've been here long enough that you've had a chance to look at some of the records in the course of your investigations and things like that. Um, you note that the records here for the Department of Change have some details about your past. Um, what is different between what they have as the records of your past and what you remember as the records of your past?
Well, for one, that in their records of the past, it was some um, like interdimensional entity that they call God who brought the flood, but it was me.
I dig that. Do you remember that? Are you are you relieved that they read it that way? Are you annoyed that they have it
I'm
that way?
relieved. I'm
Okay.
relieved. Like
All right.
I'm not keen about taking responsibility for any of the shit that I did.
Um, and Wendell, uh, what is a recent reality shift incident that happened that you've managed to realize that only you remember it being the other way?
Now, do I be funny and make it something ridiculously minor, or do I make it something big?
Up to you.
I think we all speak French.
I love it.
Presently or in the past?
No, now we used to speak whatever language we spoke, but now it's all French.
Okay.
It's the official
So
office language. I love it.
it's been the lingua franca now. I like it. All right. Um, so tell me, uh, let's go back to uh, Achemian. Um, you all have worked together as a team before. What went wrong on the last operation that you four went out on as a team, Achemian? Did you lose somebody? Did the person get away? Did you cause collateral damage? Something else?
Yeah. It would be too cheap to say we let French become the lingua franca. No. I think we I think we destroyed um the French thing has got me like some sort of major landmark or something. I was going to say the Eiffel Tower, but but I've got French in my head. So, but we did a bunch of collateral damage and we destroyed um um something.
Okay. A museum or something like that?
Yeah, something very noticeable.
Yeah, and you managed to stop the Harbinger. You managed to keep them from activating, but enough collateral damage that it was newsworthy that Division has been kind of working to get that tamped down as best they can. So you all have been kind of on reserve duty for a little while. Um, Amanda, what internal event is coming up here in the division branch? You know, a party, a review, an audit. What do you think is coming up?
I think it's going to be, yeah, because we have personal files, I guess, and we have maybe even some kind of intranet or something.
Hmm.
And what's coming up is a review of that, and maybe people need to have some pictures taken, something like that.
Sort of a common check-in to make sure that you
Yeah.
still match the appearance they have
Yes.
in the
Yes.
file.
Yep. Yep. To see if we are still the same. Yeah, I
Yes,
think this happens frequently, actually.
yearly reality review,
Yeah,
reality
exactly.
and identity review.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. Figure out if we're still speaking French or if somebody is still speaking something totally different and has oh, I imagine there is one poor schmuck who's still speaking whatever we were speaking before and hasn't caught the French. So now
absolutely.
Running
so
around
now
with a
I
dictionary with a translation.
yeah,
The
maybe
Google phone.
maybe they're speaking, I don't know, Finnish is pretty uh, well,
I like it.
so yeah,
Absolutely. So we've got that coming up in all of your kind of, it is for some people it's you're used to it, and for some people it is nerve-wracking. Uh, uh, um, uh, Samuel, who is a new arrival at the branch? Who has been transferred in from another branch? A mundane, another Omen class monster, something in between.
Mm, I think it is Betty, and Betty is an intern. And Betty is a reformed harbinger.
Mm.
Like in some other dimension, she destroyed the earth or the world and then regretted it afterwards.
And sort of depowered themselves,
Mm-hmm.
reformed, and kind of appeared in this reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, has bounced around between various division branches before being sent here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like it. Uh, and then Wendell, what big change have they made to the break room area of the branch HQ that either people love or hate?
They took away the flipper machine.
A big change.
Big or small? Something that people reacted to.
Got to be like a refrigerator policy. If you work in an office, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Since we're like restricted on space, since all the space we have is basically what we've cleared out, the refrigerators have been restricted away from being able to like store food in them. Now it's only for test samples.
Yeah. They have lost some access then, and the lab departments have essentially requisitioned those refrigerators for that, and people are having to bring in essentially coolers if they want to keep something cold, which is kind of stacking up in places. So the four of you are in the break room uh, uh, with that sort of people grumbling about the policy there. Um, uh, 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 Amanda, what do you think you're doing to right now when we kind of come in and see you? I just want to kind of do a check around and get a sense of how we see you operating in the office.
I think what I'm doing is I'm reading the manual on the refrigerator practice and trying to figure out what kind of sense it's trying to make. What what were the author's thoughts behind this manifesto? I mean,
So,
I'm pretty sure Margaret Thatcher wrote it.
okay, written in a very clipped,
Yeah,
deliberate tone with some raise yourself up by your bootstraps if you want to use this refrigerator kind of attitude.
yeah,
Okay, I like that.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
If you
uh,
want refrigeration, you bring your own cooler. Brace
yes.
yourself up.
uh, Achemian, what about you? What do we see of you here as the camera kind of swings through? What do we see you doing?
um, I think I think you see they're sitting in the corner, um, kind of just um, what looks like meditating, just by themselves in the
Okay.
corner.
And Samuel?
Samuel is sitting at the desk doing some paperwork. And as the camera is panning by, Betty is stopping at their desk and saying, "Hey, are you coming to lunch with us?" And Samuel is like, "No, I got to finish that first. I don't think I'm going to have lunch today. I'm sorry."
Excellent. Do you think is Betty disappointed or just kind of moves
Yeah,
on?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Was getting ready for some worship, but nope. Samuel is busy.
I like it. And Wendell, what about you?
Since I'm not allowed to touch the paperwork, since it tends to disintegrate in my
Hmm.
grasp, I'm doing most of the clearing away so we have space.
The
Ver-
trash duty, the reclamation of space in here. I think you all are in your various places, thinking about what comes next in the day. Amanda?
Yeah, maybe I'm explaining the or reading the refrigerator policy to Wendell and
Mm,
asking their thoughts because I can make head or tails of it. And he's a guy who understands writing.
yeah, I can't touch it. You don't understand it. Perfect combo.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
And I think you're doing that. And then the four of you will find yourself standing in a parking lot. And the cold wind kind of blows over you. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. You're all dressed a little differently than you were before. You kind of look, there's building, maybe industrial building in front of you, with a kind of some big doors that are slightly ajar, but it definitely looks abandoned. Whatever signage was here has faded away over time. It's a pretty big complex. It's maybe getting on evening. The quality of the light certainly tells you that you're in somewhere where it's getting towards dusk, and you will see a fellow agent named Egther standing there, uh, and he says, "Did you get it?
You'll have to be more specific.
Did you get the device?"
No, we didn't. Tell us what it's about, this instance.
Uh, uh,
Did you do the reality shift that we just experienced?
no, I didn't
Oh,
pick up any RSI. Uh,
okay.
Stop
you,
bumbling. What
oh,
device were you talking about?
you, you went in the building to get the stolen device, the object of power,
Oh,
about an hour ago, and then you just reappeared here.
we were just in the, I was just in the cafeteria and then I was here. I think we had an RSI. I
Uh,
think I'm looking around and then I'm looking at, I came in and said, did you do this?
No, I thought this was about the refrigerator.
No, I still have the policy with me.
you don't actually.
Oh, I don't,
Like you look
what?
down,
Uh,
you're geared up for a
huh.
mission.
Oh, wow, okay.
Well, if you would be so kind as to fill us in again. Obviously, we are not the agents you think we are, but we are still here to do the job. If you can tell us what the job is.
Uh, Certainly, and Egther, he's essentially the last remnants of the Jotunheim giants, in a fairly human form. Here, he says, "I don't know the full details, but I was put on site to kind of stand by until you arrived. Uh, as I understand it, about 48 hours ago." Uh, well, so the department has been monitoring this group of anarchist scavengers. Uh, um, they're backed by some kind of tech bro named Chambers. Uh, the department has been following them. This group has been operating near sites where we've had reality shift incidents before. Uh, that's happened more than once over the last couple of years, and so the department's kept them under observation. Uh, Uh, and as I understand it, about 48 hours ago, uh, the department got word that a previously closed door of power that I understand was just called the device, uh, reappeared, and became active again. Um, but the team that was sent to check on it, when they got there, it was gone. Uh, then we got word from the agent, or rather, you got word that from the agent that was embedded with this group, Weeper. And Weeper said that uh, uh, that the group had received some kind of object of power, which seemed, not just a coincidence, um, and gave us this location. But then we've lost contact with Agent Weeper, and they sent me in, and then about an hour ago, you guys arrived and went in, but now you're back out.
Mhm. Let's assume that your version of us got lost in action. What was their plan so we know what to avoid?
I don't know. I was put on site. As I understand it, you were to go in and get the device and find out what happened with Agent Weeper.
Mhm. Well, let's go in then. Find the device and find out what happened to Agent Weeper. But maybe be more
That 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 is
careful
what
about it.
went wrong with the other group. Maybe we should change at least some details up. Exer, who went in first?
Gosh, let's roll a die here. Wendell went in first last time. Took point.
Okay, cool.
I was just about to suggest an approach, so that sounds.
Let's maybe take another approach then. Yeah, I can go in first. I don't mind that.
Okay. So Amanda, you begin to move in. Others following or doing anything I should know about?
Wait a minute.
I think I will follow Amanda
Ooh.
just to be sure
One
that she's okay.
Okay.
one thing I do before we go in, I will
Mhm.
try to read Exer
Okay.
because it, I've I've been burned by Margaret Thatcher
Oh,
on
okay.
people,
Haven't we all?
right? Right.
So you're going to use you can't hide your heart from me? Is that what you're using? Okay.
Yes.
So do you want to generate any darkness tokens before you roll?
Oh yeah, I think I
Oh my gosh, we
am.
don't have a roller, do we? I need to get a
We
roller.
don't.
Um, gosh,
I think I asked someone to listen to my wisdom. It's probably just gave me two because it kind of less.
Mhm.
And
let-
I'm using them on the roll.
you can use
I'm using my
it,
physical dice.
okay, please do.
And I think we just listened
Whoa.
to your wisdom by proposing and
Yeah.
changing the order.
Yes, and I totally was totally I rolled a 13. I rolled
Okay.
an 11 plus 2. So yay.
So I'm going to
Okay.
put a roller in the
Mhm.
uh let's see, we put it in the basic moves tab under move title. I'll just put the link there. Uh there. So on a 13 plus for this, um, choose one from the above, and they will choose one to ask you as well.
I think I will ask them, yeah, what are you hiding?
They are hiding the fact that the last time this happened, you asked them to go in with you, and they they were scared of something and said no. And right now, Egther is kind of relieved that in this second version of this, that you haven't asked him to go in with you.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yep, that seems fair.
And I think that I want to know what you're afraid of.
Oh, what I'm truly afraid of? I'm truly afraid of, yeah, people. Let me check on this. I'm truly afraid that nobody will take me seriously
And I
because
think
I'm.
it is that you lock eyes with Egther there because you kind of look
Mhm.
and do that, and he can tell that you're reading his weakness, and he's getting a little bit of you, and you see him. He maybe gets maybe a half foot taller, and then you see him stop and kind of tamp that down. And you may take a bond with them.
Done that. And I think when he gets taller, you can see across my face there are some runes running really quickly, but these look like the old Scandinavian runes.
Okay. He says, I'll wait here. I'll wait here.
What do you think? We maybe come back, and if we come back and don't know what's going on, then maybe suggest to us that we take a different approach than the front door.
I will do that. I will
Thank
do
you.
that if that happens. Um, Anything else anyone else just do as you move towards the building? So you will come up to these wide double doors, kind of loading doors for it, cracked open. You will step inside. There are kind of higher windows that have clearly not been cleaned in a while. So a lot of the light that you're getting into this large room is that kind of yellowed twilight light coming through there. It's clearly some kind of industrial floor. There are a lot of machines around. But also, this place clearly hasn't been used in years because there are various boxes and cabinets left. It reminds you a little bit of the division base in some ways. Um, but all over the floor as you come in, and these will crunch under your feet. There are slides and negatives and like printed photos like in the old envelopes that they used to get shipped out in, and the floor is just covered with that. And I think you'll realize from the smell of this place and what you're seeing, this maybe was a photo processing facility, like a huge one. Um, what do you do when you come in? Amanda's taking lead. What do we see Samuel doing when you come in here?
I kneel down and take a few of these negatives and just look at them, um, just seeing if they are themed or if they're just random.
I think that the just the handful that you pick up, you'll see like blurred pictures, and maybe there's a holiday snap
Hmm.
on one of them, and another one seems to be a landscape, and then maybe a Christmas picture. It's random, and the weird thing is, even the time scale of these is sort of odd. Like one is clearly from, maybe the 2000s, the last heyday of these kinds of things. And then
Hmm.
some of them are clearly people are dressed in outfits from the 70s.
So they're almost a bit too random, even.
Yes.
Hmm. Is that
Wendell?
me?
Oh,
Is that me grasping keys already, or
uh, I guess yeah, we can move to that. T Do you want to generate darkness tokens here before you roll?
let me just see how that works. Like my go-to move would be to do that with anger and violence, but that doesn't apply here.
Mm-hmm.
The other way would be to use my bonds, right?
So
Or
you can spend the bonds after you roll to
okay.
modify the roll.
How do I? Yeah, by doing darkness. Um, no, that also there's nothing that really applies.
Okay.
So I'll just roll flat, I guess, with
Okay.
um just 2d6, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what happens. That nope, that's a 5.
That is a 5. So you may mark ruin to uncover a key. Um, we'll come to that in just a second.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think as you're holding one of these slides up, kind of have to move it to catch a little bit of the light to maybe
Mm-hmm.
see. And there is a moment when some of that light through the window comes and hits that, and the light kind of prisms out, and all of you will hear this shifting, and you will see these shapes moving around on the machines and on the walls. They look like people, but out of focus, sort of color shifted people, like bad photo images of people. And there is a horde of them, and they begin pressing towards the four of you in a very aggressive manner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, Wendell, what do you do when? this horde comes up, and we'll come back to the key question in a moment, Samuel.
Sorry, what kind of horde?
As a horde, they look like they are definitely three-dimensional, but look a little flat. They're off-colored, sort of after image bad photos, moving towards you in an aggressive fashion. Uh, dogs, people, children, all kinds, but like formless and kind of faceless.
First thought, these can't possibly be actual people, actual beings. So I'm just gonna let myself absorb whatever I can get in range of.
Okay. So that feels like maybe you're unleashing the dark to try and take a portion of them out here using your
Yep.
magic drain. Okay. So do you want to generate any darkness tokens before you roll that?
I don't think there's anything I can really do to
Okay,
do that.
that's fine. Yeah, this is a lesson in how this system works to kind of go, okay, this is how you generate things. So you can certainly roll with a +0, and you can spend bonds to bump it or lower it.
Is it just any bonds I can use?
Yeah,
Or okay,
but you do that spend afterwards.
that's good, right? No. Yes. Yeah.
So that
A
is a
10 is
10.
good.
10 is good. So Unleash the Dark on a 10. What two picks do you want to do? And then I want you to tell me what that looks like.
Uh, uh, am I looking at the wrong move?
Unleash the Dark is
Oh, I
the
was looking at Power Through Darkness. That's
that's
why.
okay.
Uh, Control and choose to. Uh, I want to avoid reprisals,
Okay.
armor cost, and uh, which one would make most sense for actually feeding?
Oh, I think inflicting a condition.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think I
I'll do
think
that.
essentially, what does it look like when you draw out some of the essence from these after image creatures?
Uh, I like loosen some of my like tight coats and like a tight scarf around my neck, like expose a bit more skin, and then just hold my arms out and the like they had a bit of color you said or like the like
Yeah,
strong negatives in those figures like start to bleed and diffuse as if
nice.
ink is flowing into the air.
Yeah, they're losing their color, they're losing their saturation as you draw that into you, and you've definitely weakened them. Akamian,
Yeah. Um,
they
uh,
are weakened, but they are still present.
right. Well, just gonna, I guess maybe, they're definitely threatening,
Oh
right?
yeah, they are moving aggressively towards you.
Okay.
While I'm doing this, like drawing, I'm gonna turn to you like, find out what they want. Find out.
So I think Akamian will also hmm I could also unleash the dark.
Okay.
Um
Which of your powers of darkness, how are you doing this?
yeah, so it'll be the um I think he's going to distort time
Okay.
and attempt to slow everything down, um, so that others can do what they will, or we might be able to gain more control of the situation.
Perfect. Do you want to generate any darkness tokens?
Yes. I think when he was meditating in the break room, he wasn't really meditating. He was kind of sulking because he was feeling rejected and alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will generate a couple tokens for
Okay.
that.
So you
Done.
generate 2 tokens, and how many do you want to spend on the roll?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. So roll with a +1.
All right. To the roller. I've never used this one before. Do you just, oh,
Uh,
da-da-da, I got it.
okay.
Simple, simple. 6 plus 1 is 7.
That is a 7. So I think that as you like reach out and kind of manipulate time here, you'll realize that there's a little bit of element of time shifting that is empowering them. And the group that is closest to you actually, they, rather than slowing down, they move faster and they rush onto you and begin to swarm and grab at you. What condition do you want to mark?
Um, Cornered.
Okay. Yeah, they have grabbed onto you, and you can feel them pulling and drawing the kind of the color and life force away from you. Amanda, you see that Cinna has drained some of them. Akamian extends their energies, but gets swamped by these things.
Yeah, still think Samuel is right with his assessment. I want to figure out what they want.
Okay.
So I will try to well, they can't hide their heart from me, right? Can they? No.
Yeah.
And I've been scared both by these things and then by what Samuel did to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll use my 2 darkness tokens on the roll. And I need 2d6. So
Okay.
roll it. So it's a 10.
That is a 10. So you get to ask 2 questions.
Mhm. I will ask, what do you wish would happen?
They are things that recognize that they are unreal, that they are not that they understand that they are simulacra, but they clearly believe that by consuming you who are real, they can make themselves more real. And that's what they're trying to get. That's what they're hungry for.
Okay, I kind of feel them, but
Yeah.
still, okay. I think I will. I don't think we're. I think we're a bit past the let's talk to them stage, and I would like to know what they are truly afraid of.
They also recognize how flammable they are.
Oh, no. Still, I guess I will shout to the group, I guess. They're not real, but they can burn. And maybe someone has a zipper and we can scare it off with that. I
Uh,
don't think I have a skipper zipper because I also feel that I could burn.
yeah, I think that certainly makes
Yeah.
sense. Uh, Samuel, let's come back to you. And we had hanging sort of there. Did you want to mark ruin to uncover a key?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So go ahead and mark ruin,
Hmm.
and we'll grab the mystery page here. I'll put in the facets after a little bit here.
Sure.
But my little list of that. Uh, I think you will see that there are a set of these images that are kind of standing off to the side.
Lau,
Yes.
just quickly, should we mark our imports?
Mark our.
This at the start of every session, choose one to explore during play.
Oh, since this is a prologue, I was going to hold off on that because we're
Okay.
gonna carry that over to next session.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, you will see there's a set of these images that seem to be stuck in a way, and it's almost like they're a flip book
Mm-hmm.
and of different pictures that have kind of been stuck together and are kind of going through in that kind of like discrete images going through, and they seem to be like they're showing some kind of forthcoming disaster, like some kind of apocalypse there, and they're clearly uh 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 reflecting images of that apocalypse to come.
Mm-hmm.
So after I'll just play after images of an apocalypse for the shorthand for that. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've marked that ruin, you've got that key, you hear kind of Amanda shout that out, draws your attention. What do you do? There are a bunch that are on Achaemean. Cinna has weakened a part of the group. What do you want to do?
I think since Cinna has drained a lot of the color out of them, they're now reduced to mostly like black and white images. And that is black. What's the English word for Umriss? Black contours
Mm-hmm.
surrounding just empty space. And with that, I will unleash the darkness, the shadow control,
Okay.
through violence, and I say, shadows. No, let me just phrase it right. I will say, from order, chaos. No, sorry, sorry, the other way around. From chaos, order.
I like that you say it wrong the first time and then you have to go back. Okay.
And then basically order them to stop their nonsense and to like cohere. I order logos on them. I order coherence. I order them to make sense and to stop their nonsense.
All right.
And in unleashing the dark through anger and violence allows me to take 3 darkness tokens.
Okay.
Before
And
doing that,
how many do you want to spend?
I think I would like to spend actually 2 of them because I think it is very important to protect my friends right here.
Okay.
And let's see. Good thing I did. That is 3 plus 2 is 5.
5.
And I think I will. So how much do you need for a clear
You need
success?
8 to 10.
8. So that would be 3. Do I want to burn through all my 3 bonds? Let me just quickly see what the result of Unleash the Dark is on a success. You control no here. Inflict a condition, get what I would like to protect my my friends here.
Okay.
So I will tug on the bond to the darkness.
Okay.
And to one of each of my friends, and then I'm at 8.
All right. So what is it like why do you have to push yourself that hard? What is it that kind of holds you back or that they're doing that counters you for a bit?
The thing that I give into the darkness is that I don't want to be alone again. Like and I see that both Amanda and Wendell are really beset, and I can't have that.
Okay.
And that I think basically justifies all the 3 bonds that I'm using.
Perfect. And you get 2 picks.
Just adjust my ratings. Okay, now let's go over to the picks. So choose to get past their defenses and inflict a condition, get what you want from them, avoid reprisals, harm, or cost, gain the upper hand for now, expose the weakness of flaw, confuse them for some time. What I want from them basically is to seize what they're doing.
Okay.
That is, get what you want from them. I want them at a peaceful state where we can talk. And I think I would also like to avoid reprisals, harm, or cost.
Okay. So you will bring them kind of to a halt here, and they will peel off from you, Akamian, and Cinna, you're kind of staying there. There's still more to drain, but you had a delicious taste of their energy there. Um, and I think you'll realize how, as you, I mean, they stand, but they are objects. They are things driven by like a passion, a hunger to consume. They are animated things, and I think that like you can see that communicating with them on a more sophisticated level it isn't possible, but you can certainly push them back. Does that seem reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think we'll see them kind of, move back away. And I think in the distance, you can see that uh, there is a freight elevator that is up, and it looks like, as you look on the shop floor, that there must be something deeper to this complex, a basement or a sublevel or something like that. And I think that's where we're going to stop.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Sound reasonable?
Yeah.
We will do the sort of experience questions next time to kind of set up. That'll be the rest of this mission. What you do is at the start of the session, you'll choose your impulse, and that's basically an XP key that you want for that particular session. We'll check in with that at the beginning of next time, and we'll give experience at the end of next session if that seems cool with everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me do a quick uh if you want to do stars, or particularly if you have wishes based on your character, like things that you'd like to see, I want to kind of throw that out to folks here just to kind of wrap us up. Um, Dominic, anything you want to throw stars, or anything you want to say, hey, with my character, I really want to do this or see this?
Um, I mean, my character kind of needs to have this back and forth with somebody they are in love with, but I think we set that up quite well.
Hmm.
Um, and the little detail I really enjoyed was having Margaret Thatcher in there, like a creature even I fear.
Yes, nice. Uh, Amanda.
Yeah, what gives all the stars to all the characters? They're all super fascinating. I really want to get what I'd like to get the scenes with them, obviously. Other than that, I don't know if I maybe would find an opportunity to use the Man of Thousand Faces, but if not, that's fine.
Okay.
And yeah, oh, my darkest tokens. Yeah, I just want to see where this goes. Actually,
Okay.
I want to play this character. So
Excellent. Wendell?
Uh, I always that question always flushes everything from my mind, so I can't think of
Absolutely. I
anything to
know that
say.
one. I am very much the person who, when we get to end of session, goes more of the same, for my wishes. So,
Uh, I do have a wish. I tend to push things in a silly direction just out of instinct, so I just hope someone will counteract me on that a little
okay,
bit. I just
that is fair. And Akamian.
Yeah, am very impressed. My stars with everyone's character. I feel a little intimidated with how fantastically you guys had those visions for your characters, but so I was very impressed with everyone's characters. I think for wishes, more of the same, right?
Fair enough.
But no, I think I'm just interested in like exploring our relationships
Hmm.
and the bonds a bit. And yeah, and then having an opportunity to um explore for myself through that, explore what how, my grief and the things that I did to my people. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good, especially since we have a lens on that through a couple of the other PCs. Um, One of the things, so I do want to say, so this is kind of our intro sort of short mission. I expect that we'll it's a complexity two, so we'll probably get through this next time, kind of as a chance to feel out how the rules work and how the mystery solving works and things like that. Once we're done with that intro mission, you'll definitely have the opportunity if you want to make changes in terms of the moves that you've picked or the powers of darkness that you've picked. Just know that you're not completely locked in on that. Um, and that's all I have to say on that point. I like the characters, and I'm very excited to see where they go. Really, really interesting. I am,
Uh,
yes,
I do have an odd wish that no
sure.
one has to do. Uh, I have a hard time like collating information from like these sheets. So if I could request that people would like put like a paragraph on like a summary of their character in the like Discord or something, that'd be really helpful.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea. And I'll write up like also a summary of the mission as it stands, so we have that, and I'll get that on the mystery sheet for next time. That makes perfect sense. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.